you're here. Yeah, we're so glad you're here. Oh, we're so glad to be together in unity.
Having said that, a landscape work day is scheduled each Saturday in October from 9 to 11, cleaning up and pulling weeds. Everyone's welcome to participate. Please see Debbie Price or Sandy Light for more information. I know Sandy's out there. You guys know Sandy. Hands up. See her. Or Debbie Price if that's something that you would like to help with. But I just cannot, I know we've all been just so much gratitude and so much joy in seeing how neighbors and friends have kicked in and helped other people in their communities. And just, we had somebody around the corner here that set up a little folding table and some lawn chairs and pulled an extension cord from their house and put up a sign, "Please stop here and power your devices." This was like early,
Yeah.
right afterwards. So just people, pitching in and doing what they could to help, and the show of just consideration and kindness to others and our neighbors. If we get nothing else out of all of that, I hope that you really had a chance to see that in action and appreciate that, because it was a beautiful thing. And, of course, we saw that right here in our community, so we are so ever grateful for that.
Absolutely.
What are we talking about this morning?
Well, first, I'd like to find out, do we have anybody who's here for the first time? Anybody? Welcome.
Oh,
Welcome.
welcome.
Yeah, thank you for being with us. Did I miss anybody? Anybody here for the second time?
Yo, yay.
Thanks for
good.
coming back. Anybody who's here for the third time? Anybody who
Has
is
lost
always here? Anybody? All right,
lost
great,
count.
great. All right, it's good to see everybody. It's good to see some of our friends that we hadn't seen in a while. It's good to see various ones, and I'm so glad that you're here, because it lets us know that you made it through, and we're really happy about that.
Yeah.
So this morning I want to talk a little bit about this idea of loving yourself. Loving yourself. And you say, James, why is this important? Well, without being able to love yourself, you can't love anybody else, because you don't have enough in your tank to fuel and to motivate you so that you can give love to others. Does that make sense? I mean, you got to take care of yourself. We're learning to do that, aren't we? I saw like 5 hands go up. People who are taking care. Okay, good. So, the practice of self-acceptance, embracing who you are, including the parts that you don't find perfect. I got to talk to you about something. There's parts, aspects of you that you're pushing away, and you got to stop that. All right? Let's say it together. Stop it! All right? Because this practice, this is a spiritual practice of self-acceptance. Here's some affirmations. I'm surrounded by people who love me and who I love.
I am worthy of being loved.
I attract people who can help me heal through love.
The love I have for myself and others is beyond words.
I am open to receiving and giving love.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Let's take a breath of that. Feels pretty good, doesn't it? So today we're going to answer the why, the what, the when, and the where of this idea. How many know that God doesn't make any junk? Did you know that? The divine creator does not make anything without a purpose, without a reason, without a plan, without a destiny. Think about that. And that includes you. Say it with me. That includes you.
That includes you.
Right? We are made of the stuff of divinity. Isn't that wonderful? And the divine can only do divine things. Love begets love. I am made, you are made, we all are made of the substance of unconditional love. Let's take a deep breath of that one. Now, all of us have this ego persona, which is a fictional character that we have created through our beliefs, our attitudes, our choices, and our reactions to life. This persona is like the moon reflecting the sun. The personality is a reflector of spirit. A reflector of spirit. Spirit shines through the personality. How many know you need your personality? Tell the person, no, don't do that. Let's repeat after me. You need personality. Right? You need a little bit of personality. You need a little bit of ego in order to exist in the world, to put yourself forward, to take the steps you need to take, to do the things you need to do. Right? You need a little bit of that, and it's okay. See, unfortunately, in spiritual circles, the ego has been judged harshly and criticized and like, whoa, bad, it's wrong. Well, how many know what happens when you make something bad and wrong? It will turn around and bite you.
Yeah.
Say with me, oh. I was giving a pause for you to say something.
You were.
Yeah.
Did you see smoke coming out of my ears as I was sitting over here? I was thinking about how so many spiritual circles these days talk about, getting rid of the ego or killing the ego or dying to the ego or, and the ego is that which keeps us, that protects us in many situations.
Right.
It serves a purpose. So the idea is not to kill off the ego or make it an enemy, but rather to befriend it and to be in control of it rather than it be in control of you.
Aha.
Did you get that?
I got it. I got a revelation.
Because that is, in all of our work with our unity principles is what we're working on, changing our consciousness, changing our thinking, and the ego is that which drives, our thinking into places that it doesn't need to be in. So we have to take control. Rather than letting the ego sit in the driver's seat and us in the passenger seat, it needs to be the other way around.
Yeah.
So make friends with it, embrace it, and control it.
Or manage might be a better word.
Manage it.
You think?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Just manage? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for those that have control issues, control it.
Yes.
Something you can control. So, the creation of your personality, that is a gift to the creation. You're a gift. That personality that you have is a gift because it's unique, and it's through the uniqueness of your personality that you express divinity.
Yeah.
If we all exactly acted the same, went around, like we all popped out of the same mold, how boring that would be, right? On the other hand, I think, well, if everyone had a personality like me, I don't know that would be good either, right? No matter how good you think right? Variety is the spice of life, and spice is what keeps things interesting and flavorful, right? So your unique personality is your gift to us, to the creation.
Sure.
Yeah.
We all have our own flavorings.
Mm-hmm.
We all have our own brand, right? The brand that you have is you. You are the brand.
Yeah.
You are the flavor. You are the message. Let's say it together. I am the message.
I am the message.
And what are you saying? What is your message? That's what we need to consider.
Yeah.
So loving self means to love all of yourself. How many understand there may be a light and a dark side, but you got to love it all. You got to love it all. There are easy parts about yourself to love. Say, oh, I can do this. I'm really good at that. You know, patting myself on the back. Boy, I'm good at that. And then there's some, oh, I don't want to talk about that. I'm in denial of that. Don't even think about that. That's something I don't want in my life, right? But we got to love it all.
Well, an important thing to recognize is that we have this thought that I have these unlovable parts, or I have these dark spaces in me, or these dark feelings in me, or dark aspects of my personality, whatever. And nobody else has that. There must be something wrong with me. You see the person sitting next to you? Don't they look lovely? Aren't they beautiful? They're have a dark
showing their light side today.
Yeah, they have the same thing in that we all have that dark and light.
Yeah.
Our practice and our opportunity is to lean into the light.
Yeah.
Right? Heal the dark stuff.
Yeah.
But there isn't anything, there's a beautiful line in that song, I don't know if you were able to get it or not, that said, the things that I judge in others are done by people just like me. You know, I'm judging that in another person, but they're just like me. We all have these little foils and foibles and stumbling blocks in our lives.
Well, you know, when we say dark side, we're not saying that you're dark.
Right.
We're saying that you may be living in the dark. There's a difference. You're living in the shade. Mm-hmm. You're living in the dark space where you can't see what is really pushing your buttons. Yeah. Right? How many know if you don't know who and what's pushing your buttons?
It's you.
That's right. It's me. I mean it's you.
It's So it's like, is there anybody that has never thought when you've been really angry at someone, right off the bat, there's this thing that just says, I could just kill them. Now, you won't admit it, perhaps, but we have all had that initial reaction to something.
I have never had that thought.
Yes, you have. Probably had it about me this morning. Who knows? We all have, right? We all have that, but we don't act on it.
Maybe a better way to say it is, there's certain people we would just love to have out of the way. You know what I mean?
But you know what I'm saying. When you get real...
Just move them over there somewhere.
In your past experiences, when you've been really upset with someone, you know, there's that thought that just, you know, that just filters through. And there are people that thought lands in that they act on it, right?
Yeah.
That's the difference. We don't let the thought land, therefore we don't act on it.
Well, our mistake that we make many times is that we believe that there are parts of ourselves that are unlovable. Right? We believe there's something about me that's unlovable. There's something about me that's unlovable. And these are the rejected parts. I wonder who has rejected these parts, these aspects, these feelings, these thoughts, these attitudes. Yeah. Right?
And a lot of this has been embedded in us from childhood, because many of us were shamed in our childhoods. And the difference between a healthy shaming of, you know, you really should not have done that. That was not the right thing to do. You need to go apologize. That sort of thing is a healthy kind of shaming. There is this shaming that happens for many of us in childhood that says you are inherently flawed. There is something wrong with you. And so we take that into our adulthood and we cultivate it, and we wind up with these parts that we don't feel are lovable and that we want to push away and we want to reject because, I'm just an inherently flawed being.
And you can see people who have these deep-seated beliefs about themselves because they're always nervous, anxious about what people are thinking about them. They really care about what you think, right? Let's say it together. I don't care about what anybody else thinks. Now, you can care a little bit, and I hope you care a little bit, but not a lot, right? I hope you care enough to wear deodorant, dress, you know what I mean? The stuff like that.
And let's also make it perfectly clear that you are not inherently flawed.
Absolutely.
You are inherently perfect.
You're not a sinner.
Perfect.
You're not a sinner. See, people like to say, I am a sinner. No, you're not. I am a divine being. A sinner, we've all sinned. In other words, we've all made mistakes, right, that we had to learn from. But these rejected parts are like the prodigal that's out there trying to find their way back home. There's parts of yourself that are just kind of floating around. They're saying, let me back in. Why do you keep pushing me away? And that comes through our personality a lot of times, because then we expect others to reject us. We expect others to judge and criticize us because we're doing such a good job of it ourselves, right? And these parts are like frightened children, fearful of being abandoned, separation anxiety, embarrassed to be who they are. There's a lot of people that are afraid to ask for what they need. Why is that? Because they've been told they're unworthy. They don't deserve to get what you need. I mean, no, everybody deserves to get what they need, right? Everybody deserves it. So these parts need love and they need acceptance just as much as the good parts. We are quick because we're taught in our society, oh, Leah's a good girl. Oh, you did what mommy said. You took out the trash, you cleaned your room, you're a good girl. But what happens when Leah didn't clean her room? Somebody says, oh, you're a bad girl. You're bad. And so what does Leah begin to think about herself? I'm good, I'm bad. I'm good, I'm bad. I'm good, I'm bad. And it's so confusing, isn't it? How many understand that you can't take people's behavior and use that to, as a way of labeling them, right? Oh, well, this person always does this horrible stuff. No, not always, right? So we need to be careful how we label ourselves and label others, because whatever you call it, that's what it will become to you. And you will not ever deal with the true version of who this person is until you can just be with them and allow them to be who they are. Right? So she's not being herself, I'm not being myself, and we're in a relationship. How does that work? It doesn't work very well, does it?
It didn't for a long time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because I had expectations. And of course she had expectations. Right?
We were what you call codependent.
Yeah. We depended on each other
You needed someone to be broken
Yes.
because you were the
I
savior
needed-
and
I
the
needed to-
fixer.
I needed to fix somebody.
And I needed to be broken so he'd have someone to fix.
And who was really
I'm
broken?
not kidding.
Who was really broken? Right? Because I had not accepted and loved myself. And that's what we're talking about today. We want to assimilate and integrate all these pieces and parts and bring them back home. Yeah. Can you envision what it would be like to live in a state of wholeness? Thank you. Feels good. Mm-hmm. Feels good, doesn't it? You know, a lot of people walk around and they don't have any energy. And they wonder, why don't I have any energy? It is because there are aspects of yourself that you're pushing away. It takes a lot of energy to push it away. And you're unconscious of it, right? And so therefore you're not being fed this energy from these parts of yourself that you need. Because how many know we need it all? We need it all, right? What would it look like to be a whole being, to be complete? Whew. That's a vision, isn't it? That's a goal. Yeah. Now, in one sense, you know, on a spiritual level, we are all whole. You know, we're already there. But it's learning how to appropriate and bring that in and manifest it and demonstrate it in your life. Do you see the difference? And demonstrate it. And that's why we're here on earth. Because if you weren't here, if you were already perfect, then you would be somewhere else. These fragmented parts are draining us of energy. They're draining us. You wonder why I'm just so tired. I don't know why I'm so tired. You know, what's going on? Well, there's a piece, a part that's hanging out here. I had a vision one time. In the middle of the night, I have a lot of visions in the middle of the night. And dreams and all that kind of stuff. Just say it, I'm weird. I know it. I accept it. It's okay, right? I accept the weirdness.
It's not weird. We talked about that Wednesday night at the Let There Be Light class.
Yes.
Mysticism.
Yes.
That dreams and experiences
right.
like that really are the norm.
That's right. 40% of the Bible is mystical. Right?
We validated you Wednesday.
Yes. See, the weirdness in me recognizes the weirdness in you. Right?
There ought to be a T-shirt like that. I know, there is.
There is one. That's right. You can go to our website right now and get one. Anyway. So what we want to do is we want to decide, make the decision. Let's say together, I decide.
I decide.
You're the decider.
Mm-hmm.
To bring the broken parts and all the fractional pieces back home together. You want to start to call them back to yourself. Okay? You want to throw out the welcome mat. So you can say, I'm a welcoming person. You know? But if you have a sign on your front door that says, go away, I don't want you here, right? Then
we saw a house.
I know.
Yeah, we saw a house the other day with
did.
a sign on it that said, go away.
That's right. I felt so rejected. No. But you've got to make the invitation. Yeah. You've got to invite the unwell parts. I remember this experience I was getting ready to share. I woke up in the middle of the night and been having this disturbing dream, you know, about this thing floating around me. So what in the world is that? And I was walking down the stairs and all of a sudden I saw it. And it looked like just a little worm with a face, okay? Just a blob. And I stopped on the stairs and I looked at it and I said, what are you? And what came to me in that moment, I am a part of you that you have rejected. I'm that part of you that you've rejected and that you've put outside yourself. Right? So it was a very visible thing for me to be able to see it and to say, oh, wow. Because it wasn't really outside. It's inside me, but it's in an area, it's how many know we compartmentalize? Did you know that? And that's a natural thing that your brain does because it wants to keep you from constantly living in trauma. But consciously, you can begin to open the doors a little bit and begin to let in, those other parts. It's just like the soldiers that went off to war in Vietnam. They fought hard. Young men, 18, 19, 20 years old, went to war. They were traumatized. They were in, war is hell, right? War is, whatever hell is, war is that, right? And so these soldiers, when they came back home, they weren't accepted. They were ostracized. They were spit on. Because there was a misunderstanding, right? They were not appreciated. And they never really were able to fit back in to our society. We had a minister friend who did these ceremonies with vets. And he would have all the vets come to the front. And everyone would welcome them back. Everyone would celebrate them and give them a standing ovation, say, welcome home. Even though it had been 30, 40, 50 years, tears. And some of them would just get weak in the knees, and, because they were welcome back home. They were welcome. How many know we need to make people feel welcome? Because people don't feel welcome. And it's not just the soldiers. It's parts of ourselves that we're not in acceptance of. You understand? And how do we welcome them? Well, unconditional love is the healer. It is the unifier. It is the integrator. You know what unconditional love is? It's the opposite of conditional love. Conditional love means, I love you if you love me. I love you if you do this or that for me. Right? And I just want to say, anybody who's here that is a vet and you weren't welcome, you are welcome here. You are welcome home. Welcome home. We love you. We appreciate you. We value you. You have worth and value, right? Yeah, I didn't want to go any longer without saying it because that's so important. So these incomplete parts, they block our good. A lot of times they block our prosperity. They block our relationships. They block our career goals. Make sense? Because we're not letting it back in. We need whatever it is that they have. We need that part. We need it. And so, as they return back to the whole, you're going to have feelings that will come up. And this is how you know that they've come back home. There will be some feelings of uncertainty, feelings of anxiety. See, when you're feeling anxious, it's really because there's an unintegrated part of yourself hanging out, right? And so we want to allow those feelings to pass through us. Do you know what emotion is? It's energy in motion. It's not trapped energy. It's not smother love. It's unconditional love. It's letting it move through you. So when you feel that anxiety, just sit with it for a moment. Say, hello, welcome home. You're back from the war. You've had a hard time. I know that you have. But you're okay now. You're okay. It's okay now. You understand? Mm-hmm. It's a self-soothing. It's a self-acceptance. It's allowing all of those feelings to come back.
So I was just sitting here thinking that it's important for you to understand in what we're talking about that you are not broken. You are not broken.
Yeah.
And I was just given thinking, you're like a house, right? And if you can imagine a house that in the yard, close to the house, is a window, is a gutter, is a piece of the roof, is a vent that goes to the heating system, different parts outside. That's what this is like. You're like a house that just has certain parts that are waiting to be reintegrated into the house. The house isn't condemned. The house isn't ready to be torn down. It's not broken. It just has pieces of it that still need to be put into place. And that's like what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We just have these pieces that need to be put back into place.
Absolutely.
And when you have, a window that's out in the house, it brings in a lot of unwanted things, doesn't it? It brings in heat or cold. It brings in bugs. It brings in things that we don't want in our house. And that's the way when we have, so if we have a window missing, you're talking about, it blocks our good. It can keep things from operating at the prime, right? Because it needs to be, the window needs to be put back in place. The door needs to be hung. The gutter needs to be placed.
It reminds me of a character in Andy Griffith. I mean, has ever seen Andy Griffith? Yeah. All right. Remember Ernest T. Bass, right? Now, he was one of these fragmented parts. And what did he like to do?
Throw rocks.
He liked to throw rocks, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because he didn't fit in society. He didn't fit. And so he was outside throwing rocks. That's what people outside do because they don't feel part of. So they throw rocks, right? And that's what Ernest did. I mean, he told Andy, he said, "Now, Andy, I need to court me a girl. I want to go courting, want to find a woman. I need a woman." Well, these parts of yourself don't really have a lot of wisdom.
Andy tried to fix him up.
Yeah, he did.
He tried to fix him up, but he went back to his rock throwing.
That's right.
So it's not just a matter of dressing up the outside. You have to do the work.
Yeah. And so you have to accept those Ernest T. Basses in their raw state, in their unformed state, in their wild state. And they may throw some rocks at you, right? But you got to accept it. So did that give you a good visual? So, the whole world is experiencing this. The whole world is experiencing. The macrocosm is going through this. experiencing all of the stuff that's outside of ourselves. You know, everybody's going through it right now. And so we need to give a little space and a little grace to each other right now. Right? We need to integrate and assimilate and allow people to be where they are in the moment. They're rawness. People are raw. You know, we went through the pandemic. We came out of that. And then we have these political battles going on. You know, everybody's screaming at each other. And it's like, it's no wonder people are just, turn it off, turn it off. Somebody, do something. And the power is in your hands and my hands, right? We have the power, we have the authority to stop pushing things away and bring them into the circle of wholeness. Now, it may take a while to assimilate Ernest into your circle of wholeness, right? It may take a while. But you let it in as you are able. How many know you can't rush it? You know, it's like I had a guy come to me one time. He said, James, he said, I want to know everything and I want to know it now. I want to fix it. Everything in my life, I want to fix it now. You know, I'm going to spend whatever time right now doing it over the next 2 weeks. I said, well, good luck with that. I've been working on this a lifetime, right? How about you? And so you can't rush it. But the parts are leery, they're suspicious, and they've been rejected so many times. What happens to a dog that is rejected? You know, they cower. They're afraid. You know, that's what happens to people. They're just so afraid, fearful of rejection. Wow. So take all the time you need to fully and completely love, accept, and integrate it all. You want to become friends with all of it. We're making an invitation this morning to bring back home the wounded, the tortured, the discarded, the hated, the fearful. Every little piece and every little part. I need it all. I want it all back. There's enough room in my heart for all. I want wholeness and well-being in my life and myself. So I invite all of those pieces and parts to be assimilated. Come on back home. There's room for you at the table. There's room for you here. You're welcome. You're welcome. And I'll do my very best to love you, to take care of you, to watch over you, and help you find your way. I forgive myself. I forgive others who've caused me to think in these ways, caused me to not take responsibility. I accepted certain ideas that just are not true. They're just not true. All I am is love. I am love. And I accept that as the truth of my being. So this morning, my prayer for you is that you will allow yourself to integrate, to assimilate, and to find your way home. Because really we're talking about you. It's you that feels like you're on the outside sometimes, looking in, wishing that you could experience this or that, or that feeling of belonging, connection. So you're welcome here. You are welcome here. So let's just breathe for a moment. Let's just breathe. Breathe. We call forth assistance from our divine, for the angels, those ministering spirits that are around us all the time to help us, to lead and guide us on this path back home, back to center, back to wholeness, back to well-being. And so right now, I deeply and completely love and accept myself as I am. Doesn't matter what it is, I accept it now. If you know of someone in your life that needs prayer this morning, and I'm sure there are many, sometimes it's overwhelming when we look at the needs that people have. But that's why we have a higher power that knows each and every one, a creator that is here right now, that knows when the birds fall out of the nest, that knows when the little squirrel is looking for food, takes care of the little goslings and the geese. There is a divine source, the center of all of this. And so we give the care and the keeping of our loved ones over into the hands of the divine. Maybe you are not sure what to do anymore. Maybe you've reached that place with some. How can I help? How can I help? And you're not sure. Let us turn them over to the higher power and trust that they will receive what they need when they need it, in their own timing, in their own way. So we place our family, our friends, our loved ones, people we know, into divine hands. And trust for a higher good, a greater good to be manifest. Let's breathe now. Feels good when we breathe together. We're all part of one spirit, one oxygen, one planet, one race, the human race. All are one, and one is all. We're grateful for our community. We're grateful and thankful. And so now, for just a moment, invite you into the silence. So in the name and the divine nature, the Christ, the name of love, and the name of the sacred and the holy and the good, say amen. And so it is.